Hi, and welcome to the beginner's tutorial for Lunar Flight, the new lunar lander game. So let's start the game. I already created a new profile for this tutorial, which is pretty much where you will be when you start the game anyways. So let's load this game, and here's what you will see first time you load it. This is a quad view. Here we have 4 different views on one screen. We have an outside sort of a camera following view. We have a cockpit view. We have a MC screen view. And we have again, outside of the craft camera, I think it's kind of a follow camera. Here in the middle we see our account. We have 5,000 to start, repair, refuel, and so for the beginners, I would highly recommend switching over to the full cockpit view. All the information you need is here, and it is much less overwhelming than the 4 view, which I would recommend for a bit more advanced users and players. So at the very beginning, I'm just going to go briefly over the cockpit here. On the left side we have the MC screen, which we can switch between the different things here. We have a top view, map view, different bases, mission view where we can take our missions, cargo, which is at the moment empty. We have a liftoff power to weight table, which basically tells us how much thrust we need in order for our craft to take off. Systems gives us a breakdown of our systems, and trials, which is time trials. Here in the top we can choose to hide that screen or not, and we have our level at the moment, amount of money and experience, and also upgrades. The fact that you start at 5,000 on your account is very good. Here among upgrades we have one-time use items like fuel, repair, boost, and gyro. Basically lets you fuel, repair, boost, or stabilize mid-flight. These are one-use items, as I say. You'll have to buy them again if you do use them. Thrust upgrades, which increase the thrust power. Fuel upgrades, which increase the fuel efficiency. RCS jet power upgrades, which increase the power of your maneuvering jets. Stabilizers, gyros, which basically stabilize your vehicle once you in flight. So if you, let's say, roll to the right or to the left, the stabilizer will slowly even you back out to 0. The higher the level, obviously, the more it will do it. Maps, well, they're all unlocked anyways. At the very beginning, I would suggest and highly recommend buying the stabilizers, level 1 stabilizers, which will activate at 5 or less degrees of tilt. So let's buy that. And the next step, I guess, would be to take a mission. Now, the beginning missions, for the first mission, I would definitely highly recommend doing a transport mission, like such here. We have a transport for 4,000 cargo to Delta for 5,000 reward and some XP. There's also data survey missions, lost cargo missions. A lost cargo mission is the most difficult of them all, I would say. Leave those for later when you have some more upgrades. So in this case, even better. Here we go. A transport where we have to transport only 1,000 of cargo, which will make it a little bit easier to maneuver with our craft. So I am going to take this mission, and we have to transport it to Bravo. And once you take the mission, you can select a navigation point, and you will see how it changed here. This always points towards your nav point, as well as this screen here. At this point, I will consult my liftoff power to weight table. We have 1,000 cargo. We will need about 39% thrust to take off. And I'll switch this back to our top view. Now, other data that you can see here, we have our top screen here, which can also be switched to map, to nav point camera, or to velocity camera. I would recommend leaving that at velocity camera. Very handy, especially when you're navigating directly out of cockpit. It will basically tell you where your craft is heading at its current velocity and speed. Down here we have pitch, yaw, and roll. Also important to keep an eye on that while you're flying. That information is also kind of relayed here as well. This is your pitch and roll here. This is your thrust meter, and here you'll have your altitude, your velocity, and also your vertical velocity. But without further ado, I'm just going to get onto the flying part of this game. One important feature, especially for the new beginners, is the thrust lock. The thrust lock can be engaged right here, or on your joypad or keyboard or wherever you're playing with. I would highly recommend using it for this first mission. So let us engage the thrust lock and start increasing our thrust until we reach that 39% that the table told us we'll take first takeoff. So actually, let's go a bit higher than that. Let's go to about 42, which will gently lift us up. So here we go. Now at this point, we need to align ourselves up with our navigation point. So start yawing left very slowly. Make sure you don't go over 5 here. As you can see, I'm trying to keep underneath it because of that gyro. It's going to always self-correct itself back to 0. If you go over 5, it will basically lock onto, or be locked into that turn, and you will have to bring it down under 5 for it to slowly come back to 0. Again, at this point, we can start tilting forward ever so gently to about 45 degrees. At this point, I would also increase the thrust a little bit, just so we don't end up losing too much altitude. And as you can see on our velocity camera, our destination is coming into view. And once I've gained some speed, I'm going to pan out to 0 again, bring my pitch to 0. Overshot a bit. And let's say about there. We can reduce our thrust now because, as you can see on our velocity camera, we are overshooting the target a little bit. You can also disengage it for a short period of time until you lose the altitude you need to lose. And then make sure your thrust is just about 39, which makes us hover and stay at the same altitude. And we're just going to slowly approach our destination. You can use your directional, or sorry, your transitional thrust jets here to slow down or make slight course adjustments if you need to. Good for slowing down as well if you need to lose some speed. So I'm going to keep losing some altitude here. We're approaching our destination here, 150 meters away. Our velocity is 4.15 at the moment. I'm going to start slowing down a little bit, just so we do not overshoot that target. Also reducing my thrust, and also make sure that you are always going over the pad. You do not want to be going straight at it, because you're just going to end up crashing into it. Alright, so our vertical velocity right now is minus 5.2, which is just within the absolute maximum limit as far as the descent speed to the pad goes. Anything higher than that, you will end up doing some damage to your craft. So at this point, I'm just slowing down and pushing on the transitional thrusters back. And as you approach your landing pad, this view here will change, as you can see, and will help you align your craft with the landing pad. So now you just use very gentle adjustments to navigate it where you need it. You don't have to be in the circles. As long as you're on the pad, the game will take that. And as you see, my thrust is just under 39. We are ever so gently going down. My descent is 0.1 at this point, which is very gentle. You can even go a little bit faster than that. But for the tutorial, it's always good. So keep adjusting until you're right in the middle. And contact. Turn off the engines. And here we are. mission accomplished. So to conclude the mission, you gotta go back to the mission screen and hit unload. Now the good thing about doing this out of cockpit view is that you will also get cockpit bonus, which is additional experience. And just doing one mission initially, like this one, transport mission, will net you quite a bit of money. So refuel first, and then basically wait to see how much cash you're going to be left with. And at this point, we can see we have about 21,000, which is quite sufficient to get some more upgrades, and I would definitely suggest doing so. Get to level 1 thrust, level 1 fuel, level 1 RCS. Level 2 upgrades cost 10,000, level 3 cost 15,000. After buying all the level 1 upgrades, you can also buy additional fuel or repair. It can come in handy if you're in mid-flight and you really need to refuel, or if you damage your craft you can repair. So in this case I'll buy it. I'll buy the fuel. And whoa, why am I taking it off? Oops. I think my pen might have just done that. I bought some fuel. You can also buy some repair. I'll leave it at that. And these items are accessible right here on the right side. You can use them at any time. You can have up to 3. Once you use them, you have to buy some more. I hope that this tutorial was helpful, and see you next time.